What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Lazarus Planet Alpha, issue number 1 one-shot, as this spills out directly from the events of Batman vs. Robin. What we saw on Lazarus Island is the volcano erupting, all of that magical power being thrown into Earth's atmosphere, and now that magic mixed with the Lazarus cloud. It is raining down upon the planet. People across the globe are going to start really getting new abilities, with DC letting us know that there are going to be a handful of characters that are going to have their powers changed forever. Now, this event is going to take place over 15 different issues, and that includes tie-ins. All in all, there will be 6 one-shots aside from the Alpha. From Assault on Krypton to Revenge of the Gods, they are planning to shake up the DC universe. Now, with that being said, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so we are diving into the dawn of DC. A year-long storytelling initiative, new epic series, new creative team, new battles to be fought, and it all starts right here with Lazarus Planet Alpha. We are picking up exactly where Batman vs. Robin issue number 4 left off, with Robin, Black Alice, Talia al Ghul, and Batman making their getaway from Lazarus Island. Damian swearing that he is going to fix this, but to do this, he is going to need the help of the magician known as Black Alice. If she can be coaxed from the trauma that she has endured by the Devil Nezha, there is a possibility she will be a huge key factor moving forward. On the other hand, we have Batman, who has been very wounded. The only reason that he is alive right now is because they used some Lazarus resin from the Devil Nezha. They siphoned it from him and they put it into Batman. This is where over the radio they hear Supergirl. There is a planetary alert. Anyone who is not currently engaged, they need to get to the Hall of Justice. There is a supercharged weather condition creating a mysterious magical rain. This thing is blanketing Earth. It is creating life-threatening damage with typhoons, tornadoes, and level 5 thunderstorms. This is when the plane that Damian is flying, it goes crashing out of the sky, with it landing right outside the Hall of Justice. We see the likes of Blue Beetle, of Blue Devil, of Mary Marvel, the Monkey Prince, Cyborg, Power Girl, and Supergirl, with Power Girl and Supergirl being the one to stop Damian's plane from crashing into the ground. That is when Damian lets everybody know that there is a war about to begin, an ancient evil that goes by the name of King Fireball, that he is responsible for the green storms. But Damian does have a way to stop him, and of course naturally everybody looks to Batman. But the state that he finds himself in, he knows that he is unable to do much, letting everybody know to look to his son, to let Damian lead this charge. And so Damian fills them in on the entire story, from Mother Soul to the Devil Nezha. When Supergirl hears the name Devil Nezha, she almost turns pale. Supergirl had been there when Batman and Superman last imprisoned Nezha. She knows what he is capable of, with Zatanna going on and letting us know that magic has gone utterly haywire. It is spread randomly and sometimes violently across the earth. It is threatening all life and steadily replacing the very laws of science. With all of this in mind, Damian splits them into 2 teams, with Mary Marvel, Zatanna, and Power Girl. They are teaming up and they are headed to the Tower of Fate. Nezha had drained the powerful artifacts. He discarded them here at the tower. Their mission is to bring it back so that Black Alice can reverse that drain. Cyborg and Blue Beetle, they are going along with them. Their alien technology not necessarily affected in the same way that everybody else is with these Lazarus storms. So if magic does fail, they can try to use brute force. Batman, Talia al Ghul, Blue Devil, and Supergirl. They are all going looking for the Devil Nezha. He was last seen pretty severely wounded. Damian believes that maybe he can be turned ally to find him before King Fireball does. And then we have the Monkey Prince. Showing up very late to this ordeal, Robin lets it be known that he can stay back, that Monkey Prince will stay here with Robin. Now, Damian does let it be known that the only thing Monkey Prince can really do is ride clouds and separate his limbs. Not knowing how to make use of this, he does say that he wants him to stay because he needs some cannon fodder, which is honestly pretty messed up for Damian to say. But this sentence alone is going to make me believe that the Monkey Prince is going to have a very prominent role moving forward. For those of you wondering who the heck is the Monkey Prince, he actually has his own ongoing series. We did cover issue number 1 of Monkey Prince. He is the more or less son of the Monkey King, of Sun Wukong. With one last thing, Damian letting Supergirl know that even though she had helped Superman and Batman jail him before, Nezha knows that it takes extraordinary effort to possess a Kryptonian. They suspect him to be weak, but to also remain extra cautious. And so at the Tower of Fate, we have Power Girl, we have Mary Marvel, and we have Zatanna that are all trying to break into the tower. Even with Dr. Fate missing, his wards and seals are holding up just fine. And so Cyborg and Blue Beetle, they go in and they try to use brute force. As they punch against the wall, this is where there is a giant explosion. Except this came from the inside of the Tower of Fate. This is where we have the arrival of the Silver Horn King. This is one of Fireball's lackeys. He was sent here to guard the tower. Zatanna letting us know that this is very bad. The Silverhorn King sending his minion animals. They begin to attack our heroes. And so while they make their stand, we are taken to the Himalayas. Batman knows that the Devil Nezha is searching for any last little bit of pure Lazarus resin, trying to repower himself. They are going to go to one of Ra's al Ghul's old lairs. But making their treacherous trek through these mountains, that is where they run into the Golden Horn King, yet another servant of King Fireball. He has been sent to retrieve the coward known as the Devil Nezha, with Blue Devil and Supergirl being the ones to stay behind. They fight him off while the others go to find Nezha. What we also learn is that this storm has turned Supergirl's powers upside down. Sunlight is now draining her abilities. Add on top of the fact that Kryptonians aren't great against magic, and she finds herself severely outmaneuvered in this battle. But that does not stop her from picking up boulders and smashing them upon Golden Horn King. Batman and Talia al Ghul making their way inside of Ra's al Ghul's hideouts. This is where they find the Devil Nezha, but he is already in the midst of battle, having the likes of Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy. They are currently having their own battle against the devil, taking us over to Black Alice. We have the Monkey Prince who is making use of himself, recognizing that she is terrified, she's going through trauma, she has been through a whole ordeal, and so he sits down and he just has a conversation. He is here to let her know that he cares, that Robin cares, that we all want to see you become the person that you will, that you can overcome this trauma. With the Monkey Prince sitting down by her side, we are picking up at the Tower of Fate, with Power Girl grabbing hold of the Silverhorn King. She grabs hold of him and she takes him up, getting him out of the way, letting Zatanna and the others take care of all his wolf pack. We see the Golden Horn King fighting against Blue Devil and fighting against Supergirl. With her being vulnerable to magic, we see Supergirl beg and submit, begging him to stop, submitting to his power. That is when Blue Devil lets her know that he understands that she is going through a lot. Her powers are being drained. She is vulnerable to magic. Even he is terrified. But never once has he ever seen a Kryptonian succumb to fear in this manner. That is when Supergirl, she gets a grip of herself, and she does a thunderous clap, causing an avalanche. It allows the two of them to be able to escape, showing us the battle with Swamp Thing, Poison Ivy, and the Devil Nezha. Poison Ivy had been here before, but once Swamp Thing and her determined that it was Lazarus resin falling from the sky, they came here to learn more about what was going on to the Green, only to find the Devil Nezha. Even in a weakened state, he is still putting up one heck of a fight. And so all of our heroes together, they give it everything they have, hitting him with all the blasts that they can. They are able to subdue the devil. At the Tower of Fate, we have the storm completely out of control, electricity landing in all directions. It is only a matter of time before one of them get hit. This is where Mary Marvel, she yells Shazam! Using that magic, she is able to crack open the Tower of Fate. And what we find inside is every individual that the Devil Nezha had stolen powers from and thrown to the side. The Helm of Fate had transported the magic users off of Lazarus Island. It brought all of them home. And now, just maybe, they might have a fighting chance. With the Devil Nezha currently unconscious, but his heart is still beating. If they were looking to draw any kind of magic out of the Devil Nezha and put it into Batman, they're not sure that that is actually an option. But what we see is the transformation of Batman. It appears that the Devil Nezha has taken him over, and he finds himself better than ever. Meanwhile, back at HQ, we have Damian that is coordinating all of the efforts. This is where King Firebull, he comes plowing in through one of the walls. The war raging across the planet in the DC universe. It looks like we will not see the final confrontation of King Firebull and Damian until Lazarus Planet Omega. And that's what gives us a little side story. We are learning about the history that is Nezha and the Monkey King. How the Monkey Prince can connect to all of this. That is when Pigsy goes on to tell us the story. We are picking up in the heavenly realm many centuries ago. The Monkey King, Sun Wukong, he comes to Nezha. He comes to him for help. The two of them have tried to kill each other over the years, over the lifetimes. But now they are both different people. Ever since Heaven gave Nezha the very beautiful stash that he wears, he has become a different person. Now the Monkey King is about to take on a demon and he needs the help of Nezha. The two of them making their way to Pigsy and the others. They find themselves in the home of Bull Demon. They have come to rescue Wukong's master. Getting ready to devour the master, King Bull Demon believes that this will grant him immortality. That is where the Monkey King, he goes in. We see Bull Demon, he begins to transform. He has mastered the 72 transformations. That is why the Monkey King brought in the backup that is Nezha, pulling a magical fan out of his mouth. We see Bull Demon go in on the heroes. It doesn't take long for the two of them to be able to pin him down, and Nezha deals a deadly blow. This isn't enough to kill the king, but it is enough to subdue him and put him down. Nezha is trying to let Bull Demon know that he understands the rage when he had been murdered by his own father, when he carved a path of blood across the earthly realm. He believed himself immortal, believed himself to be a god. He doesn't know who he would have become if the heavenly realm had not interfered. Now believing that he serves a higher purpose, that if he can have redemption, so can Bull Demon. Now Bull Demon tells him to shove his self-righteousness, that the only reason he has found redemption is because of the sash. That is where we see him take that sash from Nezha. Taking the sash, we see the transformation. But they are able to get it back, and we have Wukong that gives it back to Nezha. Nezha taking it willingly. This makes him question, did he choose to put on the sash, or is he obligated to do so? With Wukong taking off, Nezha left behind. This is where he finds the princess and the young boy. This is Princess Ironfan. And this is the child that is Red Boy, now left fatherless, a wife left husbandless. We have Nezha that breaks his staff in half, giving it to Red Boy, saying to use this anytime that he needs help, and Nezha will come. And that day did come. Many centuries later, Darkseid killed King Bull Demon and Princess Ironfan, leaving Red Boy an orphan, and so Nezha adopted him and became his second father. Eventually, Red Boy transforms himself into King Firebull. We don't necessarily know the history that happened between the two of them, but this leaves so many more questions to be answered. Alright gang, so as we dive into this one-shot, we are picking up with multiple different stories. The first story is starting us off at the Hall of Justice. We have Supergirl and we have Damian Wayne, currently sitting at the bedside of Bruce Wayne. After everything that he has endured, we see Batman sitting in this hospital bed, sitting in the medical bay, trying to recuperate, while Damian Wayne confesses the guilt that he is currently feeling, being taken over by the Devil Nezha. He knows, at least he feels, that this is partially his fault. This is where we have the arrival of Dreamer, with Dreamer coming in through the dreams of Bruce Wayne, trying to let Robin know that there is something wrong with the future. Dreamer having the ability to see into the future and be able to travel through people's dreams. What she is seeing about the future is that it is all gone dark. When Supergirl asks, what does this mean? Dreamer doesn't really know. Everything she saw was reflected in the golden helmet, the helmet of fate. When she tried to look beyond it for any kind of context, there was nothing. She saw nothing but darkness stretching on forever. Now, of course, Damian Wayne, Supergirl, they know about the helmet. They know the helmet of fate. What Dreamer does not know is that that helmet, it had been used by the Devil Nezha. He channeled as much magical power into that helmet as he possibly could. He was hoping to use this to amplify his own abilities of manipulation to enslave the world. But when all of that magic trapped inside of the helmet, it exploded in the Lazarus pits. It empowered the Lazarus pits. That is what caused the massive storms that is now sweeping across the planet. Now with the demon on the run, not knowing where any of the artifacts are, he had captured most of the planet's magic users, and the ones that are left over, they cannot use their abilities in a safe manner. But this is where Dreamer gets an idea that if the helmet is responsible for everything that they say it is, that is why her vision is being blocked. She is not able to see beyond it because the only possible future lies inside the helmet. Believing that if they get the helmet, they may be able to restore the future. That is when Bruce Wayne wakes up, letting them know that they need to find Khalid. He is the one that is currently Dr. Fate. He wears the helmet, or at least he did until the Devil Nezha undoubtedly bested him for it. But Bruce Wayne believes that he may have a method of tracking down the helmet. The only problem, no one has seen or heard from him since all of this started taking place. Now, at first, Batman suggests that she tries tracking him down. Batman knows that she is at least half Notorian. What he was not aware of is her ability to walk through people's dreams, with Supergirl suggesting that she try and go through the dreams to find him. The only problem, dream walking, it isn't a straight shot. The rules are different. Sometimes there are rules, sometimes there are not. It all depends on how the dreams are feeling. But without that helmet, they don't stand a chance against the Devil Nezha. And so she tries. She meditates, she puts herself into the dreamscape, and as she searches, she is able to find him. As she jumps into his dreams, what we find is that he is a medical doctor, but he has no memory of Dr. Fate. He has no memory of the Helmet of Fate. He believes that this is his life. And even when Dreamer tries to let him know, tries to tell him who he is and what they need from him, he brushes this off. He ignores it completely. But that is when Dreamer hears the voice of Nabu, letting Dreamer know that it is no use to simply let him go, that he is buried deep within his own subconscious. He was trapped here by the Devil Nezha, and even though he can no longer wield its power, his connection to the Helmet of Fate, it remains buried even deeper in his own mind. For now, it sleeps. It lies dormant, waiting to be found, letting Dreamer know that within the helmet also remains a fragment of Nabu himself. And so, he begins to guide Dreamer, guide her to where she needs to go inside of this dream. Traversing the dreamscape, Nabu does ask how it is possible she is able to walk through dreams as she does. And while she explains this, he also knows that there is something more here, that he can sense fate itself. It flows through her. And this isn't a metaphor. He is speaking literally, but this is where they come upon the Helmet of Fate. Inside of this dreamscape, trapped away, we see not only the Helmet of Fate, but also all of the artifacts. As Dreamer goes in to grab hold of it, Nabu tells her to wait, but it is already too late. This is where we see Dreamer coming out of the Lazarus resin. She has the Helmet of Fate, but her fate, it now hangs in the balance. And that is only the beginning of this story. That is what takes us over to Metropolis. We have Jonathan Kent, who is standing before a criminal, letting him know that he needs to return all of the things that he just stole. When Superman goes in to stop him, we see the crack of lightning. We have the rain come pouring down. And we see how hugely this affects a Kryptonian, making him drop down to a knee. When the criminal goes to check on Superman, touching his shoulder, there is a jolt of lightning that comes out of Jonathan. This lightning imbued with the rain. We see this petty criminal. He miraculously gets very unique superpowers. The ability to manifest and control lava from his very hands. That is what takes us to a little bit later, with this kid bringing Superman back to his apartment so that they could try and figure out what the heck just happened. We have Jonathan waking up, and the kid is floating above his own table. It is looking as if almost both of them have evolved. But moreover, we see that Superman's cape is sparkling. Jonathan knows that he needs to get out there. Whatever happened, it already happened. He needs to figure that out. But he knows that the people, the world is going to need help. With Jonathan not wanting to leave him behind because he is still technically a criminal, John takes him with him. As he learns his new abilities and new powers, he helps Superman stop crime. Though along the way, Superman does have to kind of put him in check and make sure that he's not looting from looters or stealing from thieves. As the two of them make their way around Metropolis, we see the rain come down yet again, and this causes Jonathan to fall from the sky. Luckily, his new superpowered criminal friend is there to grab hold of him, letting Superman know that he knows Superman only has him tagging around so that a superpowered thief isn't out there on the loose, saying that he hopes he made himself useful, but Superman also has every intention of taking this guy to jail. This is when he says that his powers have gone away, possibly from the Lazarus resin falling on them again. And so with him being taken to prison, we have Jonathan returning to his apartment. What he sees on the TV is that there is a prisoner who escaped that has extraordinary volcano powers. He was last seen flying southwest out of the city. This is when Jonathan recognizes that kid, his name being Ash, he also took Superman's sparkling cape, leaving a note behind for Superman saying, "You ever have a really bad day?" These stories are going to continue in Adventures of Superman John Kent issue number 1. That is what takes us to LexCorp Tower with Miss Graves and Lex Luthor. They watch as this storm comes in. At first, Lex Luthor isn't very concerned. That of course is until the power goes out. With the backup generators coming online, they will only last for so long. That is when a giant bolt of lightning, it comes crashing through the window, something even Lex Luthor didn't believe would be possible, with Miss Graves taking the full blast of lightning directly to her chest. She is shot backwards, bouncing off of one of Lex Luthor's suits. We quickly learn that she has also evolved. She has leveled up, along with so many other individuals and creatures inside of LexCorp. Miss Graves feeling more powerful than she ever has. She grabs a rifle and she heads out to face anything that might try to hurt them, letting Lex Luthor know to stay in place until she has secured the area. As she goes outside, what she sees is that a lot of the animals that they had been using in the laboratories, they have transformed, they have evolved. These dogs turning into giant ferocious wolves. As she battles all of them, we see that their tails, they are almost like harpoons. One of them, it pierces Miss Grave in her stomach, believing that maybe she died. Maybe this is the end for her. That is when we see lightning coming out of her eyes, shooting in all directions. We see her powers truly manifesting, with her arm turning into some kind of blade. She cuts off the tail, ripping it out of her stomach. We see that it quickly heals up, her hand manifesting into a claw. Every one of her fingers is a dangerous weapon. She is able to put down this dog very quickly. This is when she is understanding that something from the armor she was knocked into, whatever that goo was, it channeled the power from the armor into her. Knowing that she can ask more questions later, we see her arm transform into a freaking cannon. As she blasts away all of the transformed dogs, she is seeing that she truly has leveled up. The running theme throughout this comic is saying that they evolved. And so with Miss Graves having her power up, we are taken to Power Girl. Right now, she believes that she is dying. The last thing that she remembers, she was working with Zatanna and Shazam. They were at the Tower of Fate. They were trying to retrieve the magical relics from the rubble of the tower. That is when they got attacked by the Silver Horn King. She was rocketing him up into the sky, and this is when she believes that she died. At least that is what she believes that is currently happening, as she goes through whatever is happening, believing that the only regret she has is she wishes that she had mattered. Landing somewhere, not sure where this is, almost like some kind of horrible psychedelic trip. She goes to an area that is all green, and what she sees are the headstones of everybody, from Donna Troy to Dick Grayson to Wally West, as she tries to run as fast as she can, trying to get out of here, trying to find some kind of exit. That is when she runs into Omen. As they make their introductions, what we are quickly learning is that Power Girl, she is a telepath. More than likely, this is a new ability that was brought upon because of the Lazarus resin, as the two of them take off into the sky together, not knowing what may lie ahead of them. The only thing that we do know is that everything has been forever changed. Alright gang, so as we jump into this one-shot, we are picking up with some random individuals. A man, his wife, his daughter, and some other people that are just trying to get out of all of the chaos. Ever since that volcano erupted, ever since this Lazarus rain started falling from the sky, the world has been turned upside down. This rain having the power to depower Kryptonians, but give random individuals powers, those that never had them before. And with these people making their escape, their safe house just so happens to be on the ocean. As this family walks along the ocean, they run into 3 individuals, being swept up onto shore by the current, gasping for breath. They were only able to save one of them, grabbing hold of him and bringing him inside. They strap him down to the couch just in case. The world has turned upside down. They don't know who this is, what he is capable of, or what he might do. And while other individuals in the house, they are very much opposed to the idea of tying this guy up, thinking that it is excessive, thinking that they have gone too far. But the owner of the house, letting them all know that this is all his property, his decision. This is when the stranger wakes up, waking up, finding himself strapped down. In a panic, he is able to break the straps. Moving very quickly, we see him take one guy and throw him against the glass, holding him upside down by the throat. We can see how truly powerful this guy is. But that is when the owner of the house, he takes his rifle and he gun butts this individual, smacking him across the face. This doesn't keep him down. We see him get back up and he bites the man. In that moment, he also sees his reflection. He sees the monster that he is. The battle making its way outside. This is where we have the arrival of Aquaman. As the owner of the home comes out with his rifle and tries putting down this guy, that is where Aquaman steps in and lets him know to stop. Talking to the owner of the home, he lets it be known that he also used to fear these individuals, but their actions are obscuring their true humanity. The only thing that he wants to do is protect and feed his family just like you do. But with that volcano eruption, things in the world have changed. These people have come out of the trenches, and now Aquaman can see them for who they truly are. These are his ancestors. That is what takes us to our next story. That is what takes us to Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter sitting in the upper atmosphere, looking down at the world. As he looks at this world, he can see the pattern of emotions. Every single little individual, thousands of emotions lighting up one after the other, saying that there is almost a rhythmic method to how all of it operates. That there is beauty in all of this just like there is beauty in music. But ever since the Lazarus rain had ravaged the earth, all he can see is the suffering that it has inflicted. But observing the world, this is where he sees one individual. That individual being Raphael. And that is because Raphael, he goes to the hospitals ever since the Lazarus rain started falling. He has found himself with a unique new ability. He has the ability to take away people's pain. He takes away their pain and he puts it into his own. He takes it all on. So far, he has helped 327 people, but he knows that he can do more because he can hear all of the suffering. The only thing he wants to do is help these people, to take away all of their pain. But before he is able to make it any further, he collapses down to the ground. He is in excruciating pain. That is where Martian Manhunter flies down. He commends him for doing everything that he is doing, but these empathetic powers, this ability to take others' pain as his own, it is too much. This is when Martian Manhunter goes to share the burden with him. But when he touches the boy, he sees the evil day the city faced against Doomsday. This memory, it is very much alive. Somehow, this kid has tapped into the memory of Doomsday, with Doomsday being able to reconstitute himself from whatever was left over after death. It is seeming that even a memory is enough for him to reproduce himself. Fearing that this kid's mind might be torn to shreds, Martian Manhunter goes to try and imprison Doomsday in his own psyche. Reaching out and touching the boy again, we see Martian Manhunter transformed. He had every intention of containing Doomsday. Instead, his memory had found a purchase inside of Martian Manhunter's brain. His telepathic physiology gave him new ideas to spread like a disease, going through the psychic webs of this world in search of resurrection. This is where Raphael is able to get up to his feet, planting his feet on the ground. He lets Martian Manhunter know that he is taking all of this back. And if you can imagine the psychic heat of Doomsday's rage, the crushing weight of everything endured, all of this trying to be contained inside of one human. Raphael took all of this in and he used it against Doomsday. But in those moments, we saw Raphael transform. He was crushed down into a psychic gem of blood and pain. He allowed his flesh to become a small diamond-shaped form, dense enough to absorb the living memory of Doomsday. That is where we have Martian Manhunter that is showing this gem to Superman, letting him know what happened. That if Raphael had not done this, the world, the universe could have experienced chaos unlike anything seen before. In this very sad moment, Martian Manhunter goes ahead and he asks Superman a question, asking him, with all of his power, all of his vision, all of his senses, can he see the patternless patterns of emotion rippling off of the surface of the earth? This is something Superman has never been able to fully see, to fully understand. But Martian Manhunter lets him know that there are no songs among them today. And that is what will take us to our final story. This is the price of eternity. We are picking up with Mary Marvel, with her currently being the new champion of Shazam. That is because Billy has been out of the picture for a moment. But Mary Marvel has arrived at this location today in Washington, D.C. because she is looking for Black Adam, needing to have a conversation with him. This is where we have Malik, who shows his face. And Malik is the heir to Black Adam. Now, Mary Marvel had a vision. She first believed that it was a vision of Black Adam, but now she is learning that it was Malik. As Hoppy the Rabbit begins to talk to Malik, Malik is freaking out just a little bit. Having a rabbit who is sitting here talking to him, it's a little bit extreme for him. But once he comes to terms with it, we learn the truth. She lets it be known that Billy, the former Shazam, or Captain Marvel, whichever name you want to call him by, he has been trapped in the Rock of Eternity. He is bound to it for all time. But ever since the green volcano had exploded, magic is going crazy. For the first time in centuries, any spell, curse, binding that is tied to the Rock of Eternity, it can be broken. And so they believe that this is their opportunity to go and free Billy from this prison. Now, it does take a little bit of convincing, but Malik is finally on board. We see him transforming into his costume. The two of them, they head up into the sky. That is when Mary Marvel tries to use her powers, yelling Shazam. She tries to break the Rock of Eternity. She did this same exact thing at the Tower of Fate. Now, at the Tower of Fate, this had actually worked. She was hoping that it would also work again by blowing a hole right open in the Rock of Eternity. Unfortunately, this had only left her in a weakened state. But that is when we see a doorway open up. The three of them make their way inside. But once they get inside, they see that something is very off here. Mary Marvel had yelled Shazam right as she was going through the doorway. And so while she is powered up yet again, her powers are also fading inside of the Rock of Eternity. So at least for the time being, flight is out of the question. As they look around, they see that there is something very wrong about everything inside. That is when Billy comes to them, letting them know that they are not supposed to be here. Mary flying up to him, even though she did technically just say that flight is out of the question. We see her go up to him. Her hand goes right through his chest because this is just an illusion of Billy. And Billy is letting them know that they cannot stay, that they have to leave. That is where multiple more illusions of Billy show up on site, telling them that he can't go home, but they cannot stay here. With a little help from Malik, Mary Marvel is able to find her way to Billy. Billy currently chained up, telling her that she should have never come, that she needs to leave now before it is too late, because the Rock will never let you go. That is when we have green chains that wrap around Mary Marvel, that when that Lazarus rain had hit the Rock, it warped the binding to keep him here. It's not just a spell anymore, but it is bigger, it is hungrier, and anybody who shares the power from the wizard Shazam, they will be trapped forever inside the Rock of Eternity. But that is where we have Malik showing up, Billy believing that he will never be able to escape, that they have to leave him behind. But Malik says that that's not an option, that they're not leaving anybody behind, and if someone has to be trapped in here, why does it have to be you? That is where Billy says, Shazam! He takes the Rock of Eternity and he puts it into himself. He was able to absorb the rock into his own body. And so while he's not technically free from the Rock of Eternity, they are tied together, and he can use the Rock of Eternity to call upon his other form. The Rock of Eternity, it is now part of Billy, as Billy rejoices, saying hello to all of his friends as they return home. We see off in the distance an individual that is very much not happy about how things just played out. That Billy's actions had severed his connection to the Rock of Eternity, locked him out of his seat of power. This appears to be the wizard Shazam, and he believes that none of them are worthy of having this power. Alright gang, so we are picking up with Gotham's commissioner. Right now there has been a slew of some kind of murders going on. Somebody is out here, they are murdering people, they are going on a serial killing rampage. The only problem, this person has disappeared. As the commissioner tries to talk to her detectives, tries to figure out where this individual might have gone, Commissioner Montoya finds herself very much aggravated with the fact that nobody can figure this out. You add on top of this the fact that the Lazarus rain has been falling for days. There are much bigger problems at play, and that's saying a lot considering this guy is a serial killer. But there are college kids missing, and so the detectives, they go out, they investigate, they try to figure out what is happening. That is what takes us to Newton's Raceway. They found a body, something that looks like it had been mauled by an animal, ripped to pieces, eaten up. This is just an absolute bloodbath. So Montoya, when she goes home, she decides that it is time to finally do it. She gets that hat out of her closet, and she becomes the Question. She goes to investigate, to figure out exactly what has been going on. The city is speaking to her, investigating Elroy's apartment. This only gives more questions because it appears that he has been gone for a long time. But she finds a key. This key leads her to a storage unit. When she gets there and opens it up, she finds the missing kids, the missing college students. And that is where Mr. Elroy comes in from behind her. Some kind of hideous monster. The Lazarus rain turned him into this. As the Question goes to try and stop him, tries to figure out the situation, she finds herself overwhelmed. But one of those college students, he grabbed the gun when she dropped it, almost like a cattle prod, punching it into this monster. It finally puts him down. And so the murder has been solved. Going into work the next day, the detectives let us know that it was all taken care of, that everything has been wrapped up. The right man is now in prison. What this story is telling us is that Montoya, while she has been commissioner and portrayed as nothing more than commissioner for quite some time now, she has not put on that hat to be the question in a while. But it looks like that may be changing here moving forward. That is what takes us over to Raven. We have Raven and Beast Boy making their way through this treacherous land. Just recently, there are 3 newly activated half-demons. Raven knows that this is the work of her father. She wants to get to these men before it is too late, to get to them before Trigon gets the opportunity. That is what brings us up to a church. The police saying that there are demon kids held up inside of there. Now, Raven believes that they came to church to try and be saved, to have some kind of exorcism. Because when you are taken over by the devil, where else would you go but a church? With Beast Boy sitting on the outside pulling guard, Raven goes inside to find that the priest is being controlled. These boys, the half-demons, they are trying to get him to do an exorcism. They want to be saved. Raven stopping the boys from hurting the priest, trying to talk to them, trying to level with them, trying to let them know that everything is going to be okay. And so while they agree to go with her, when they step outside, they see that Beast Boy has murdered everybody. Because this was not Beast Boy, this was Trigon. Trigon throwing her through a portal, taking the 2 boys that were following Raven and killing them on the spot. But this is when he goes inside the church to see that one of the boys is still there. One of them that did not follow Raven. This is the kind of demon he wants. This is the kind of son that he wants. Letting this individual know, his name being Liam, letting Liam know that he is his father, to take his hand because he is very special, and this is about to be a terrific start. That is what takes us to Firestorm. Firestorm making his way through the sky. That is when the Lazarus rain comes pouring down. As he argues with Stein, they have this argument, but then there is an explosion. We see that Professor Stein and Ronnie, they have been separated. Whatever this rain is, it is causing something to happen with the Firestorm Matrix. Not fully understanding what this is, that is what takes us to a few days later. A giant crater. The team from Star Labs and Dr. Ramirez, they have come in to investigate, to see what the cause of all this is. But as the team does their investigation, that is where we have a shadow demon coming out and attacking them. Ronnie saying that they have to stop this thing, that this somehow must have leaked into their universe when Ronnie had exploded as Firestorm. Throwing a rock at the shadow demon, he turns to Dr. Ramirez, letting him know that they have no other choice but to come together, that it could kill both of them, but the shadow demon will for sure kill them regardless. With the 2 of them becoming one, they see the rip in their universe. Firestorm going in to battle the shadow demon, finding himself pretty outmatched by it. This is when the doctor, he proposes an idea, using a pinning trap. This will allow them to catch him and throw him back into his universe. And so boxing him up, throwing him through that rip and closing the rip up, Dr. Ramirez cannot help but say how remarkable these powers are, with Ronnie going on to say that he doesn't believe that their work is done. He can feel more rifts that are opening up, which means there are gonna be more shadow demons. That together, they are gonna have to take this down. As they separate themselves, at least for the time being, this is where we see Dr. Ramirez has severely aged up as they reform. Ronnie is thinking that this has to do with something with the Firestorm Matrix, that it must be broken and it is stealing time from them, because this is exactly what happened to Professor Stein. And that is where we see him severely aged up, looking like he is 90 years old in a hospital bed. Alright gang, so as we dive into this first story, we are picking up with a Red Hood story. We have Red Hood who is being blasted off of a bridge and falling onto a barge. To explain how he got in this situation, we have to backtrack just a little bit. He was going after Lazarus resin, much of what he was doing when he was involved with Task Force Z. If you didn't check out Task Force Z, make sure that you do check it out. It's a relatively interesting line. But the concept is they were creating their own suicide squad using Lazarus resin to resurrect dead heroes or villains in this case and use them on the squad. But right now he is tracking a canister that was smuggled out of LexCorp and it is now making its way to Gotham, intercepting this mid-transport. But that transporter also came with his own escorts. Many escorts that he had to battle through. Laying down the hate on all of these guys, it gave the guy the opportunity to make a getaway, chasing him across the bridge. He had left him a little gift, an explosive on the bridge. Not having any time to think, he jumps off. The bridge explodes, he lands on that boat. Looking around, there is nobody to greet him. As he goes inside, he sees that they were doing something. These are also LexCorp men. Not sure what they were up to, but somebody got here before he did. This entire place has been fried and melted. Thinking maybe it was an accident, but looking around, this looks more like there was some kind of fight that went down. And then he sees it, a symbol that is burned into the wall. Not really sure what this means. He sees a leg go running around a corner. As he goes chasing after them, he finds himself face to face with somebody. Multiple individuals, going toe to toe with the young woman that is among them. He sees that she is very fast, but he knows he is stronger. If he can just get his hands on her, he may be able to take her down. This is when she leaps from the pier, and we see 3 individuals in a boat, letting Red Hood know that they are all on the same side, that it may not look like it, but they are. As they take off in the boat, we learn that their team name is the Vigil. So this will be one story that we see coming in 2023. That is what takes us to our next story. This story is about Flatline. For those that don't know who Flatline is, we saw her on Lazarus Island, mostly inside of the Robin series, the one that focused on Damian Wayne. And for those that don't know, Flatline is actually the girlfriend to Damian. But Flatline is much more than that. She's actually a crime boss here in Tokyo. She took over after she defeated Lord Deathman. But now with this Lazarus resin falling from the sky, it doesn't really seem to affect her much except for a voice. When the rain had started, she heard something calling out to her, not allowing her to sleep, not allowing her to do anything. And so now we see her following this voice. As she makes her way through, we see her come to a building, this appearing to be the place that she needs to be at. The voice telling her to go inside. As we see Flatline punch down this door, what she finds is Ra's al Ghul's bodyguard, or at least former bodyguard before Ra's al Ghul had died. He sits here waiting for her. That is because Talia al Ghul knew that Flatline would come looking. Now, Talia believes that Flatline would come looking for her because she wanted to be mentored by her, obviously having no idea that the voice is calling her to this place. But we see Yubu and Flatline, they begin to fight it out. We are also learning that the bodyguard no longer has the strength that he once did. With the Lazarus Rain, it has taken away the power that he once had. Previously empowered because of the Lazarus. Now with the rain, it has taken it away. And if anybody ever questioned just how strong, how skillful Flatline is, we saw her capabilities. We saw how truly good of a fighter she was in that tournament. This is where we have 4 ninja come out. These League of Assassin individuals now having powers and abilities due to the Lazarus Rain. This is definitely more of a fight for Flatline, as we see Flatline just getting thrown around by the 4 of them. That is when she sees an urn. That is why she is here. As soon as she sees it, she knows. She goes over to it. Before anybody can reach her, she opens it up. A giant, blinding light coming out of it. This is where she sees an entire flash of her whole life. Everything that brought her to this very moment. It appears that the Lazarus Rain has gave her some kind of new ability. Death flows through her veins as life passes before her eyes. Death had called and she had answered. This is where she sees standing before her is Ra's al Ghul. He was the one calling out to her, letting Flatline know to make herself comfortable because they have a lot to discuss. And that is what takes us to what I think is the most interesting story in this comic. As we jump over to the astral plane, we have Amanda Waller and Deadeye, letting Amanda Waller know that he is currently under attack and also asking where she is. His psychic range has gotten stronger. He is able to pick up that she is on Earth 3. With Amanda Waller not willing to help him out, he does ask for some advice, asking what he is going up against. He is going against Everyman, a shapeshifter, but because of the Lazarus resin, because of this rain that has been coming down, we have seen him transform into something more, but he also wants to know who sent him and why. Amanda Waller going on to say that this is Lazarus, that he needs to brace himself, calling him Archie, saying that every man's DNA is being torn apart and then it is reassembled into something new, saying that Deadeye is next. That is when a jolt of blue energy comes out of his eye and goes through his arms. This is when Deadeye in the astral plane still having this conversation with Amanda Waller while having the fight. He has figured out that Amanda Waller is the one that hired Everyman. We also learned that this is Amanda Waller's nephew. Amanda Waller going on to say that she hired Everyman to make him stronger, that she trained him too well to be killed by someone like this, that she needs him sharp, especially for what is ahead. But she says that the Lazarus Rain has nothing to do with her, it is just an added bonus, letting him know that Everyman's contract is indefinite, so she suggests going ahead and finishing him off. Also saying that it was good to see you, and to say hi to your brother. And so, leaving the astral plane, he finds himself in this fight with Everyman, who has essentially turned himself into what looks like Doomsday. As the two of them brawl, we see Deadeye use his new power, punching Everyman in the chest so freaking hard that it puts him down and it puts him back into his regular human form. And while Amanda Waller had said to go ahead and kill him, Deadeye isn't doing that. In fact, Deadeye, he gives him some comfort, he patches up his wounds, he gives him some water, and he sets a fire. This is just the beginning of Deadeye's story. We have the Monkey Prince's father and grandfather. The grandfather pretty much controlling Ultra Humanite. Right now, they are working on building their own phantom projector. They only have half of it, so the other half they are having to recreate out of Earth parts. As they put this thing together, we're seeing that the relationship between the two of them, it is not a great relationship. That the grandfather is very much the one in control. That the Monkey Prince's father is nothing more than a henchman for him. But as they put this phantom projector together, 15 years ago, they had also tried doing this. 15 years ago, it was a failure. And so for almost 2 decades, they have been trying to recreate this. This is where we see them activate the phantom projector. The portal opens up and they see the Monkey King. But as quickly as that portal opens, it closes. That is because the phantom projector is half made with Earth materials. This is a Kryptonian technology-driven weapon, or portal gun if you will. That means using Earth parts makes the portal just unsustainable. The other half of this gun, it is at the Justice League headquarters. It is at the Hall of Justice. And with the Lazarus Rain coming down, with absolute chaos reigning across the globe, This is the perfect opportunity for them to go and break in. As the two of them head off, we see that they have been able to make their way inside the Hall of Justice, and not a single person was here to stop them, with the Ultra Humanite telling his henchmen to hurry up, that the Justice League could return at any time. That is where the Monkey Prince comes into play. He comes in and he sees what they are doing. He immediately goes in to stop them. Using the newest trick that he has learned, he creates a bunch of tiny little clones, telling them all to take it easy, because while they may not know it, he knows that this is his grandfather and father. They have yet to figure out that he is the Monkey Prince. With the Monkey Prince's father falling and hitting his head on the machine, we see the Phantom Projector activate. The portal opens up, but instead of the Monkey King coming out, the Monkey King seems to be going for the Monkey Prince's father, reaching out to grab him and bring him into the Phantom Zone. That is when the Monkey Prince steps in. He steps in the way and he goes into the Phantom Zone. This is when his grandfather, the Ultra Humanite, has finally pieced it together. His daughter and henchman, her name being Laura. She had married Winston. Winston is the henchman that is currently working with him. This is also the Monkey Prince's mother and father. Now, for years, the Ultra Humanite, or his grandfather, had believed that they had adopted Marcus, aka the Monkey Prince, from an orphanage. Now he knows that they are liars, that it all makes sense. But bringing us into the Phantom Zone, we see the Monkey Prince and the Monkey King battle one another, with the Monkey Prince trying to let him know exactly what is happening and what is going on. Marcus tells him that he is the son of the Monkey King. This puts them both at pause. But the Monkey King, he takes this information in, and now he wants to put it to the test. With the Monkey Prince doing the hair into clone discipline, the Monkey King laughs at him, because this is just a small taste of the true power. This is when the Monkey King, he does the same thing, but his clones, they are full size. After them battling a little bit, we see the mask taken off of him, the Monkey Prince's face exposed to be Marcus. The Monkey King now believes that this is not his son. As the two of them begin to have a conversation, the Monkey King demanding to know where he came from. Where does he come from into existence? And of course, Marcus, the Monkey Prince, he doesn't really know. He was adopted at a very young age. This is when the Monkey King, he takes a hair from the Monkey Prince, letting him know that their histories live within inside of them. Sometimes they are locked away so securely that they need a mirror of themselves to access it, transforming one of these hairs into a mirror. Clone of the Monkey Prince. This clone has no other choice but to tell everything that it actually knows, asking it what it remembers. It remembers looking through a portal. That is what takes us to 15 years ago in Metropolis. He remembers seeing a great white ape. That, of course, is Ultra Humanites. They used the Phantom Zone projector and they opened up a portal to the Phantom Zone. This was the first time that they ever tried bringing the Monkey King over. As a figure begins to pop up, we see the Monkey King, but what we also see are tons and tons of boulders. These boulders are the first thing to come through, as it starts raining down on Metropolis and all of its citizens. Everyone goes running, and it doesn't take long for the Justice League to show up on site. As they deal with this situation and the Ultra Humanite, Laura and Winston are able to make their escape, as they run away while Superman and the Justice League face against Ultra Humanite as they destroy the Phantom Zone projector. Laura and Winston run into a boulder that seemed to have some kind of crying coming out of it. As this rock breaks open, what they see is a little baby. This baby being the Monkey Prince, being Marcus. Not sure what to do, they take this baby and they run. They raise it as their own. That is how the Monkey Prince came to this dimension 15 years ago. The Monkey King saying that this is impossible, Shifu Pigsy has always told the Monkey Prince the story that the Monkey King is in fact his father, asking where Pigsy is, confused that he is even a Shifu now. The Monkey Prince goes on to say that he's been kidnapped, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with the Devil Nezha, so on and so forth. We learn that the Monkey King cannot leave the Phantom Zone, that if he were to leave, it would be his death. He came here on his own volition. This is where the Monkey King says that he is going to give the Monkey Prince the opportunity to prove himself. That if the Monkey Prince is in fact the son of the Monkey King, then he should be able to handle the Devil Nezha and the Demon King Firebull, telling him that once he has succeeded, he should go find the Sandalwood Buddha. This was once the Monkey King's master, a mortal monk by the name of Tripitaka. He will know how to get the Monkey King out of this bind. The Monkey King telling him to get a move on. The Monkey Prince will not leave until he learns how to properly do the hair into clone discipline. And so as the Monkey Prince comes back through the portal, meeting up with Ultra Humanites, Ultra Humanite takes a dart and he throws it into the chest of the Monkey Prince, not knowing that his own grandson was a monkey god right underneath his nose this entire time. He doesn't need to open up the portal again. He doesn't need the Monkey King when he can have the Monkey Prince. That dart that he had been shot with is nanobites. They attach themselves to the pain receptors on all of his major organs. This is his grandfather telling him that he has control of him, that you are going to do my bidding, and if you do not, your father, your mother, even you are now in jeopardy. That if you decide that you're not gonna listen, that if you're not gonna do my bidding, I am going to make you pay for it. Inviting him to dinner, saying that there is much the two of them need to discuss, but to also have fun with the Justice League, just not too much fun. This story is called Whisper of the Moth. We have the Huntress who is in Gotham City. The Lazarus rain has began to fall, and the Huntress, she knows all too well exactly what this rain is. She's seen this color before, the unholy green of the Lazarus pits. But right now, the Huntress is on top of Arkham Tower. Communication to the outside world has been cut off, and now the Huntress is going in to investigate exactly what is going on here. Most of the notorious patients have already been moved or they escaped, so there is no worrying about Super Croc or Four-Face. But gone with them is also Batman, Batgirl, and the Robins. Called away, captured, or maybe even worse. So right now, Gotham has the Huntress, the stalker of evil, the righteous bolt of justice. And for those that are not aware, Arkham Tower was really what took the place of Arkham Asylum, at least for a moment. But like any criminal psych ward in Gotham City, this place was corrupt. Psycho Pirate had a lot to do with that. But as Huntress makes her way through the corridors, that is when she runs into Onomatopoeia, assassin and serial killer. He immediately goes in on the Huntress, slashing and jabbing with his knife. The Huntress has read the files on him. She knows exactly what he is capable of. It doesn't take long for the Huntress to put down Onomatopoeia, as she stands there with a crossbow, ready to put it right into his chest if he decides to make a bad move. This is when the unexpected happens. Onomatopoeia takes that knife and he jabs it into his own face. This is when the Huntress hears the screams. She came in here looking for any of the staff members that may still be alive, going over and saving one of their lives. The Huntress learns that level 6, they tried to seal it off, but the Lazarus rain, it was able to get in. Drury was the only one that was on level 6 at the time. Drury Walker, aka Killer Moth. the anti-Batman who believes Gotham's criminal world deserves their own champion of the night. He has no powers, generally considered to be a joke, but the Huntress has to wonder, if Rain came in only on his floor, why is everyone so changed? This is when she faces against the Cavalier, taking him down. Quickly she sees that there is something wrong with him. He sends out a warning. He says he comes, to beware. That is when Zodiac Master tries to take off the head of Huntress with a fire axe. But the Huntress quickly takes him down as well, tying the two of them up and leaving them in the elevator. She has made her way to the next level. This is where she hears the whisper of the Moth. Killer Moth is up here almost like he is giving a sermon. He is talking to all of the criminal inmates. When the Huntress goes in to put a bolt right through his chest, that is when Big Top shows up, grabbing the Huntress and throwing her across the room. Everybody can hear the whisper, a whisper that is telling them to abandon the old rules, to take for themselves. It is trying to convince them to do whatever it is their deepest, darkest desires want. Huntress, figuring out exactly what is going on, she takes her crossbow and she puts a freaking bolt right through the chest of Killer Moth. Now, this doesn't kill him, but it definitely stops everything that he is doing. You see, when the Lazarus Rain had fell, Killer Moth got a new power, a kind of telepathy. This is the whisper that everyone is hearing. This is the voice in the back of everybody's mind that is in Arkham Tower. He is trying to control them, trying to manipulate them. He is trying to be their messiah. And while Killer Moth has been taken out of the game, that Lazarus Rain is still dropping into Arkham Tower. The only question now is what inmates are going to be affected by the Lazarus Rain. That is what takes us to our next story, picking up with the unstoppable Doom Patrol. We have Negative Man, Robot Man, Elastigirl, and of course the one and only Jane. Right now taking on the personality of Flit, having the ability to more or less teleport wherever it is she would like to go. They have come to see General Blanche. That is because he has a mission for them. This is a rescue operation. After the volcano erupted and it rained down hell on everybody, they saw an uptick of meta individuals throughout the world. Even here on this supposed isolated underground location, they have had individuals that were affected. The entire staff seems to be trapped in this bunker. From what they can tell, their tech sergeant, an individual by the name of Simon Cho, he has now become some kind of meta-human monster. Now, the Doom Patrol, they do argue a little bit on helping the General, because this isn't usually their MO. But there is a meta-human that needs rescuing. This is what they do. Because of this, they are willing to look past their distaste for the General and go find out what is happening. As soon as they get down into this underground base, they are quickly attacked by killer clowns. To add to it, there are also giant insects. Not really sure what these things are made of, because as our team cut our way through the clowns and all the bugs, these things, these people, they are exploding as if they are kind of a goo. This is when Negative Man makes his way through the facility. He looks for any sign of what could be causing this. With the Chainsaw Nun coming in, one of Jane's 64 personalities, she starts cutting away at clowns and bugs alike. Negative Man finding the source of all of this, he ends up flying back, getting to his body, and letting everybody else know he knows exactly what he needs to do. He goes to the young tech sergeant, now completely covered in some kind of fungus. That is what all of this is. It is all a manifestation of this new meta-human being able to generate some kind of fungal roots. They don't seem to like the irradiated body of Negative Man, which means he can sit down, have a conversation, and not worry about being attacked. So Negative Man sits down and he has a conversation with the sergeant, believing that they have finally found a way to kill him. That is not why Negative Man is here. He is letting him know that he is here to help him, to bring him somewhere safe where he can learn his new abilities, where he can learn to live a new life. Well, his old life is definitely over. It doesn't have to be the end of everything. Negative Man is able to convince him to go back with him. As all of the fungus begins to retract, they get back up to the surface only to find that the general isn't going to let this metahuman go. All he can see is the military applications of this young man. But when the general steps in the way, that is when the chainsaw nun comes out and lets him know that that is not happening. We quickly see a personality change because the general believes that Dr. Calder, Niles Calder, aka Chief and leader of the Doom Patrol, he says that the doctor owes the general one. What the general is unaware of is that Niles is no longer in charge of the Doom Patrol. This is where we see one of the 64 personalities known as the Chief. Jane's transformation into this. She is now in charge. She is the one that everyone is calling the Chief. She is the new leader of the Doom Patrol, and Jane is letting it be known that if you want to play this game, we can play it. The general not wanting to pick a fight with them today, he says that they can go without any issues. And so the Doom Patrol, they teleport out of here, and we pick up with our next story. Our next story, it starts us with Jules Jordan. Weekdays at high noon, Jules pretends to be the fastest man alive. This is a play that him and his friend do over and over and over again every single day. They are actors, they are artists. And what the two of them do every day is reenact the time that the Flash had saved their lives. They make a living retelling the time a superhero came to their aid, came to defeat his nemesis, the one we know as the Turtle. As these two finish up everything that they are doing for the evening, the Lazarus rain is falling down. They are discussing how they're just not making enough money, the play isn't really that successful. But while they are having these discussions, we see a man outside, the Lazarus rain affecting him, and then there is a giant explosion. The theater building is left in rubble. The two of them have no idea what is going on. As they go out to try and help him and see what is happening, this is where we see that Jules is affected by the Lazarus rain. Everything slows down. Jules able to feel all of it, absorbing the energy from the blast, taking all of this energy in, accidentally shooting it at his friend. She also ends up with some kind of power, looking like she is about to overload, with Jules recognizing that things have to slow down, have to absorb the energy back. Taking a huge swing, we see that Jules is able to take this energy back in, having the power contained and his friend now safe. They are very much struggling, but this is when we see the Flash of China showing up, saying that Jules has the Steel Force resonating from his body. At first, the Flash of China believes that this is the Turtle, but Mika quickly lets it be known that he is not your enemy, that he has just saved us. That is when the Flash of China tries to figure out exactly what is happening. The Lazarus rain has affected Jules in some way, shape, or form, saying that he can absorb the energy from the attack and he broke the circuit. He redirected it into his friend, but was able to absorb it back into his body. This is where the nickname Circuit Breaker comes into play. Knowing that there is a nuclear waste dump nearby, Jules has to get this energy out, asking the Flash to take him to this location so that they can disperse all of this energy. This is Jules Jordan, and after today, just after high noon, he's gotta pretend that he can keep up with the fastest woman alive. And for our last story, we are taken to Gotham City and Chinatown. We pick up with Xanthi. Xanthi has come to this graveyard to talk to Grandmother Lo, apologizing for bothering her, but Xanthe needed somebody to talk to. Things have been getting really weird around town, with the Lazarus resin falling down, ripping through the veil between the spirit world and the real world. People are being attacked after dark, completely drained of blood, as we see what appear to be zombies or ghouls. They all start popping up around the graveyard, and we see Xanthe with a flick of her finger. She is able to pull out a gigantic freaking sword, and Xanthe starts swinging away. What we learn is that these are vampires. Something has woke all of them up. More than likely, this is the Lazarus resin that is responsible. This is where we have the arrival of Batgirl, as the two of them begin cutting their way through all of these monsters. They're able to hold their own pretty well, but this is where we have the arrival of John Constantine. Using his magic, he is able to wipe away a good majority of them. But he is not here for them. He is here for Xanthe. Xanthe had sold Constantine some magic papers, said if he burned them, then they would turn into real objects. He's mad because this is a scam, or at least he believes that it's a scam. This is when Xanthe lets him know that this is not a scam. What Xanthe had said is that you need to burn those papers, and then they'll show up in the spirit world, in the afterlife. But while they have this disagreement, we see Lazarus Rain fall onto a grave, Xanthe's grandmother's grave, as roots and everything start to come out of this. Our three heroes are doing everything they can to hold it back. Xanthe lets us know that there is a gate to the spirit world underneath the grave, asking for help to bind the collective. They can send this back home. With Xanthe doing some kind of spell, we see the papers burned, and this is supposed to make this creature go back to where it came from. Instead, it only becomes more hostile. Grabbing our Batgirl, we see her grabbed and brought down into the spirit world. Xanthe and Constantine both are unable to stop this from happening. And when we pick up on the other side, that is where we have Batgirl. She is now in the spirit world. And Constantine and Xanthe, they have no way of reaching her. Alright gang, so as we pick up with this issue, we are picking up with King Fireball having the sorceress known as Black Alice within his grasp. He has learned that she is the one that took the power from everybody, that created this storm to begin with. At first, he just wanted to kill his father, the Devil Nezha, but now King Fireball, he wants all the power for himself. He is going to use Black Alice to do that. In the Hall of Justice, we have Robin and the Monkey Prince who fight against King Fireball, while these two face off against him. Elsewhere at the Tower of Fate, we have Zatanna, we have Mary Marvel, Cyborg, and Blue Beetle, along with Earth's powerless sorcerers. From the Spectre to Alan Scott, from Ragman to the Enchantress, all of them are powerless right now, with all of them turning to Zatanna, asking, what are we going to do? Zatanna says that they put their faith in Black Alice. She had the power to draw the magic from each and every one of them. She is the only one that can put it back. But with everything going on, Zatanna cannot trust her powers to safely carry this many people to her. And so what she tries to do is summon Black Alice to them. In doing so, on the other side, the Devil Nezha, he is trapping her, stopping her from being able to teleport to the Tower of Fate. These two powers pulling at each side of her. This is beginning to pull her apart, with Robin trying to get in contact with Zatanna, trying to let her know that she has to stop. That is when the Monkey Prince comes in. He hits the Devil Nezha, he grabs Black Alice, and he gets her into a hiding spot, with the Devil Nezha looking around, thinking that he is about to tear them to pieces. That is when the heavy hitters arrive. The Justice League has shown up, having two Green Lanterns, having Superman and Son, having Martian Manhunter, having The Flash, Wonder Girl. These guys, they all go in on King Fireball. with them just laying the freaking smackdown on him. This is where we see some green electricity come out of his hand. We see that King Fireball is manipulating the storm. This is when Black Alice lets us know that he held on to her long enough to mimic part of her magic, which means gradually and slowly, he is beginning to absorb the storm. That everything around King Fireball is about to get a lot more unpredictable. Having a conversation with the Monkey Prince, we see Black Alice teleport out of here, arriving at the Tower of Fate. Black Alice is letting it be known that King Fireball is at the Hall of Justice, that he is busy laying down some of the world's heaviest hitters, and he is just getting started, with Zatanna telling Black Alice that she can't fix all of them all at once, that she says that she forbids this. Black Alice doesn't care, telling the Spectre that he is up first, to get ready, because everybody is about to get their powers back. As the Monkey Prince and Robin have a conversation, trying to figure out where Black Alice had gone off to. This is where we see Robin. He has heat vision coming out of his eyes. Our Supermen, they find themselves powerless. The Green Lantern ring's power levels are dropping. Superman finds himself having the telepathy of Martian Manhunter. And the Flash, he finds himself having super strength. Robin piecing it together that everyone's powers are being scrambled, which means right now, Robin has the power of a Kryptonian. Back at the Tower of Fate, they are trying to let Black Alice know that she has to stop, because right now this is going to kill her. She is taking in all of Earth's magic at the same time. It is too much for her, but Black Alice doesn't care, freeing the Spectre, letting him loose. Free to wreak vengeance upon the evil. She is working one at a time to free everybody. Robin trying to get in communication with Batman, trying to find out what is going on with Batman, Supergirl, and Blue Devil. They are not coming in. That is because the Devil Nezha has taken over Batman. He has put down everybody to include Supergirl, with our Green Lanterns getting the super speedster abilities. They do what they can to hold off King Fireball. This is where we see Black Alice go nuclear. Black Alice has never truly had a place anywhere. She has always been used as a puppet for monsters. But for once, she is in control. But for once, she has the opportunity to stop all of this. She is sick and tired of it. She is done with all of it. Telling everybody to stop trying to protect her. That she is nobody special. Not on the scale of the people that she is saving right now. As the Spectre and everybody tried to hold her together. King Fireball taking out most of the Justice League. We see Alice just explode. She explodes with this magical power. The Devil Nezha, now taking over Batman's body, can feel that disturbance. As King Fireball rises up the Justice League, tries to use them as his soldiers. Robin lets him know that that trick has already been tried and it doesn't work. As he goes to strike down Robin, that is when he hears the voice of the Devil Nezha. The Devil Nezha making his way through all of this to find his son. Now, the Devil Nezha has come to understand that he hoped to absorb all of Earth's magic for himself. But that was a fool's goal, concocted far too hastily. The energy this formidable can never be controlled. Not by him, not by his son. But it can be directed, bringing all of this power down on top of King Fireball. The Lazarus Storm has changed. It now contains far more raw power. It contains the souls of its former masters. All of this coming down on King Fireball, feeling the full blast of Earth's magic. Honestly, at this point, Robin has no idea what is going on. But the truth is, it's also not his problem any longer. Because this is where we have the arrival of Earth's mightiest magic wielders. The storm is gone. Or more precisely, it has been reversed. Everyone is back to top form. Friend and foe. hero and villain. They all fight together and they bring down King Fireball, with the Spectre laying down the last blow, encapsulating King Fireball into a small ball. They cannot eradicate him from the planet, but what they can do is find a proper resting place for him and all of his evil. Zatanna helping Robin up to his feet. Robin says that this was all really impressive, but what the heck just happened? Zatanna saying that she is not even sure herself. All they are certain of is that going forward, magic is never going to be the same again. Hundreds of beings around the world will attest to this. Some have been granted new abilities, some otherwise transformed, and some stories that have been yet to be told. But Black Alice, they believe that she is gone. Not sure where she went to, not sure what is going on with her. Wherever she is now, they can only hope that she found peace. With all of our magic wielders making their exit, going to take care of issues across the globe, that is when Damian runs into his father, running into his arms, giving him a hug, asking if he found Nezha, asking if he is healed, asking what happened to the others. What Damian does not realize right away is that his father is still possessed by the Devil Nezha, that the fight between Batman and Robin is not quite over. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This is going to be concluded in Batman and Robin issue number 5. You know, at first I was a little bit disappointed that Lazarus Planet wasn't some kind of event. But now looking back on it, I'm actually happy that they didn't do an event. I'm happy that this wasn't some new world-ending event that we have gotten so much recently. Instead, DC took this as an opportunity to really lay out everything that they are going to be covering over the next year. All of the new stories that we are going to be seeing front and center that is part of the new initiative that is Dawn of DC. All in all, Lazarus Planet, the actual story, was only 2 issues, which I think is rather fitting. Now, I think when we do the full story, let me know what you guys think. Should we do the full story as including all of the one-shots, including everything in here, to include all of the issue number 1s that we got to see, or glimpses of what is eventually going to be issue number 1s? Should we cover it, all of that, or should we just put the Lazarus Planet Alpha and Omega together? Should we just add those 2 videos together and then do all of the one-shots separately? Let me know which ones you guys would like to see. But there's a lot of promising stories coming out of Dawn of DC. Some of them I'm excited for, others I probably won't end up reading. I may give the issue number 1s a chance, it just depends. But when it comes to the main story of Lazarus Planet, it has been relatively interesting. And now we are going to see heroes and individuals with new powers, new abilities, and really seeing some individuals evolve into completely new things. Damian having heat vision is definitely something that I didn't see coming, but I am curious, now that this fight is over, how much of those powers actually stayed with individuals like Damian? Does he still have some Kryptonian power? Does the Flash still have some sliver of super strength? I'm sure for the sake of the story that we're gonna see these powers revert back to the regular heroes. But the individuals that we saw throughout these one-shots that did get new powers, I'm sure those are the things that are really gonna be sticking and that they are gonna be focusing on. But it does give writers a new opportunity to do a lot of things. They can twist characters, they can play with some stories. It really gives an opportunity to just do something new, whether it be new characters or old characters. And I'm honestly excited for 2023 when it comes to DC Comics. I am very excited to see the stories that they are laying out and what is to come. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories, if you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with Lazarus Planet. Be sure to check out the link in my description, as well as the top of this video. It is gonna get you completely caught up on everything going on with this event. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having 5 different tiers, from $1 to $50. From loyalty badges to getting comics every single month. Not only does this help out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you are unable to do any of this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.